I'm just going to quickly run through the components for the Boxcard base layer files. There are two. One is the original. This is the larger. And the larger cuts out of a 12. It is 11.5 inches, so it will cut out of a 12-inch piece of cardstock. The original one is, I think it's about 2.5 inches square, and it works very well, works perfectly with the Crafter's Companion box card kit that they sent out. It's about the same size as the boxes that are in that kit, and so you would be able to use the embellishments from that kit. You could probably use them on this one. This is just a little bit bigger, but I wanted to give you two choices. I've made the smaller one. I kind of like the bigger one. It's, as I say, it's not a lot bigger. I'll show you some pictures here so you can see. So when you open this file, you're going to be presented with two different types. Undo this. So you're going to have a rounded top and you're going to have a squared top. Whichever one that you don't want, you're just going to select. They are grouped, and so I'm going to select the rounded top. I'm doing the squared top this time, and I'm just going to close the eye on that group, and now I don't need to worry about it. So from there, I have this piece here, which is, it goes on the outside on the back of the box, and it allows you a place to write your message, your sentiment, and sign the card here, since the other pieces are going to be pretty much covered up by the internal embellishments. You can, of course, select these panels and change the color so that you're cutting them out of different papers, however you wish to do that. These are the support pieces that hold your embellishments up inside of the box. I put 8 in. You may need fewer, you may need more. You can just duplicate or delete these individually as you see fit. Lastly, these 3 pieces are the supports that go inside of the box. They fold on this little line, and they are what you will be gluing your upright pieces to. So I use, some people like 2, I do 3 so that I have more variation of depth. So I hope it helps to understand how this file part works. As you can see, now I have all of the components cut out, and I have done my matting and layering on the card. So with it facing this way, this is going to be the back of the card. This will be where the sentiment goes. And then these are the bottom of the box. Now on this side, these are the flaps, and this is the inside of the back of the card. So I have that all set, and what I'm going to do next is I have these little braces. I've adhered some double-sided adhesive here. I used some double-sided adhesive. And then I'm going to go ahead and glue these in place on the panel that is next to the inside back panel. And if you want to wait until the box is assembled to do this, that is fine as well. Now I'm going to use the Collall all-purpose glue. I like the adhesion of this. It's not going to dry quite as quick, but that's okay because, as I say, I do like it. Now, when I do this, I look at my lines and I kind of decide where the midway point is. And this one is going to go right in there. And then I go down, I don't know, about 1/4 inch, and then I place it. And then I'm just going to hold that in place for a couple minutes. And then I'm going to do the same thing with the other 2. I'm going to get these in place. Now I don't want to put this one all the way to the front because I want some depth there. And so I'm going to go halfway between that one and the front. And I'm just going to press him in place. And then I'm going to do the same thing with the one that goes in the back. so this will allow me to put an embellishment on the fronts, on the inside of the front of the card, and that'll give another layer, and then it separates, of course, from the back. So now those are all in place. And this is another place I use my brayer. A lot of times, because I do like to use the liquid adhesive, things will, you can move them around and reposition, but then you can also get them pressed in place so that it smooths out the liquid adhesive towards the edges and it gets everything nice and tight in place. So now these are all adhered. And next thing I'm going to do is go ahead and fold. So we're going to fold each of these down, the first three. They have their score lines. And I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to burnish that in place. And now I'm going to go ahead and fold them on the lines, the score lines here. And again, same process, just get a nice clean fold there. Okay, there's number 2. And then here to the back. And let's get that one. Okay, then I've got the tab. So now the tab, I need to fold and burnish as well. There we go. So now all this does is it just comes around like this, and I'm going to put adhesive here on this tab, and that will adhere right here as so. Now again, I would prefer to use the liquid, but for the moment I'm just going to go ahead and I'm going to run my tape runner down here a couple of times so I get some good adhesion. I'm going to do the same thing in here where it attaches. And again, this is only because I'm not using the liquid, and it is a structural part. So we'll line these up nice and neat. And press it into place. There it is. Now, there we go. All right, so now we have our box. Now you can see that inside all of these little tabs just need to go and be pushed back. Oh, he got bent. And I need to take the adhesive backing off here. And then I'm just going to press him down here on the opposite side. And I'm going to make sure that he is in the right place so that he can, the card can fold flat. And what I generally do is I actually get it in place and then fold it and then press it. Okay, so there's number 1. Same thing here. I'm going to go ahead and remove this backing on the double-sided tape. I'm going to fold it back. I'm going to fold my card, and I'm going to let it place itself inside of there and squeeze it nice and tight. And there's number 2. One more time. Got the front one. I'm taking the backing off that double-sided tape. There it goes. I'm going to fold it back on its score line, and I am once again going to let it position itself inside the card. And there. Now we know that it's going to fold nice to go in our envelope either way. So from there we have all of these little sticks. We can adhere those at different levels and layers in here. And we can also do one on the front. You see what I was saying there. You could do one here and then see how you have a second layer of depth, a third, and then the last. And I do these behind because that way you don't see where they're glued on. And I have all of my embellishments out over here. These are actually from Anna Griffin Vintage Dad Decoupage die cuts. And so I have selected the ones for this card from this. And now I can go ahead and I can actually decorate these flaps any way I choose. Then I can create my layers, and then when I'm all done, I also can get my sentiment here on the back. So I'm going to go ahead and do a little decorating, and then I will be back to show you the finished card. I am back with my completed card. So all I have left to do is just the sentiment panel, and then it is complete, and this is how it lays flat to go into an envelope. And when it pops up, this is the effect. So you can see from above all the different layers that are in there. Now with this, as it turns out, a lot of these pieces were long enough that I really didn't need to use the little white sticks, but you can see I used one on the dog here, and I actually used one on this piece just to get it exactly where I wanted it. But there it is, complete. It'll fold nice and flat to go in the envelope, and it pops up and it looks great. I hope you enjoyed this video. It helps you make your own pop-up box cards, and if you did enjoy it, please click like and subscribe.